Hello everyone, and welcome back to your daily government and financial news update. As always, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on everything, so make sure to give this video a like, but also leave a comment giving your thoughts on everything that is currently going on. Okay, so President Biden's weekend beach trip got off to a bit of a rough start when what was supposed to be a relaxing bike ride turned into a bit of a scary fall.
So just right after that, the Secret Service really swarmed him to make sure that he was doing okay. The president did spend some time greeting people in the crowd, and he told reporters that he was feeling good.
Fortunately, the president was fine and no injuries were had, but as the internet does what the internet does in the 21st century, people took full advantage to make light of the situation with some playful memes. Since the crash, the Secret Service and FBI have been looking deeply into the cause, as there were no known failures with the president's bike, nor were there any imperfections in the road. Just this morning, the FBI found the real perpetrator for causing Biden's fall. With former President Donald Trump implicating himself in the crime of battery, congressional Democrats are quick to demand Trump be arrested, and Nancy Pelosi has already even started a June 18th commission, which will take new priority over January 6th.
Look, we have the war in Iraq, we have COVID, which has...
In some other news, inflation continues to tick up day by day in the U.S., with the Biden administration's failed economic policy, as well as the Federal Reserve failing to act quickly enough. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen joined ABC News on Sunday to talk inflation, and she said this about a possible upcoming recession.
Well, I expect the economy to slow. It's been growing at a very rapid rate as the labor market has recovered and we have reached full employment. It's natural now that we expect a transition to steady and stable growth. But I don't think a recession is at all inevitable. Chair Powell, clearly inflation is unacceptably high. It's President Biden's top priority to bring it down. And Chair Powell has said that his goal is to bring inflation down while maintaining a strong labor market. That's going to take skill and luck, but I believe it's possible. I don't think a recession is inevitable.
So Janet Yellen says that a recession is not inevitable despite unacceptably high inflation. Of course, Barack Obama's former Treasury Secretary, Larry Summers, says he's pretty certain that a recession is, in fact, ahead.
My best guess is that a recession is ahead. I base that on the fact that we haven't had a situation like the present with inflation above 4 and unemployment below 4 without a recession following within a year or two.
But who is to blame for all this inflation Americans are currently going through? Is it because of COVID, Russia, or even something else? As CBS noted over the weekend, the tick-up in inflation began a good year before the war in Ukraine even began.
So a number of economists, I want to put up a chart of inflation here for our audience to see, measured by the Consumer Price Index. So from the beginning of the pandemic through now, and as you can see, the tick-up began a good year before the war in Ukraine began. A number of economists, including at the San Francisco Fed, have said that the tremendous fiscal spending that went underway, the $6 trillion in 2 years, did add to that, including, as you can see right on there, the $2 trillion that the Biden administration pushed through in the spring of 2021. So when people look at that and they say, well, the White House told us that inflation would be transitory. The White House told us we could go through with this kind of spending and we'd be fine, even when Democrats within your own party were warning this would add to inflation. How do you win credibility here to the public and say this time we're not wrong?
Well, you just have to look around the world today to recognize that the two principal drivers of inflation are the pandemic and Putin. We're seeing this everywhere. It is a global phenomenon. As I mentioned, in the UK, inflation's hit 9%.
Right.
In Europe, it's hit over.
Those are the things you can't control. I'm talking about the things you can.
Absolutely.
So how do you win that credibility back?
Well, if we look at the things that we can control, we win credibility by taking action. This president is acting.
According to President Biden, though, he's made things so much better for Americans economically, but we are just psychologically unable to feel happy.
Is a phenomenal negative psychological impact that COVID has had on the public psyche. And so you have an awful lot of people who are, notwithstanding the fact that things have gotten so much better for them economically, that they are thinking, but how do you get up in the morning feeling happy? Right. Happy that everything's all right.
So that's the reason. Perhaps it's not really our wallet shrinking paying for $6 gas or double or triple for everything else. It's just that we're still psychologically unwell from the pandemic. That's according to President Biden anyways. But with gas prices more than doubling, Biden's economic advisor says that our transition to clean energy simply means that we should follow the science.
In the near term, the companies have a very powerful market incentive. Prices are high and their profit and profit margins are high. And what we are encouraging is that they take those and put those profits to work to increase production. But over the medium term, this is very important. The president's policy has always been a transition to clean energy. And that means building on the strengths of our energy system and also following the science.
And even though we still haven't seen any results from the Biden administration making inflation their #1 priority, they still continue making that one of their main talking points. With one of their ideas of raising taxes on Americans to lower cost, even CBS pushed back on that idea, saying hiking taxes is not going to change the price of milk.
If we can do a package like that, we can move forward in the near future. It will not only help in lowering prices, but it will send a signal to the markets and the global economy that the United States is really deadly serious about taking on this inflation.
Hiking taxes isn't going to change the price of milk. When and how are you actually putting forward this package?
The package has been debated. It's been worked through.
It failed back when Build Back Better's version of it. So if inflation is the #1 priority right now, when are you scheduling a vote to do the things you just laid out?
We're working very closely with congressional leadership, with Senate leadership on that.
So what exact policies will lower costs for Americans then? As far as gas prices go, which for many may be the most noticeable, the Biden administration has been calling on U.S. oil refineries to increase their production. Even though President Biden shut down the Keystone XL pipeline and decreased production of domestic oil, his administration fails to own up to their high prices. Here's our Treasury Secretary saying that Biden's policies are not to blame for the high prices, but then going on to contradict herself, admitting that oil production has declined under this administration.
I don't think that policies are responsible for what's happening in the oil market. Actually, consumption of gas and fuels are currently at lower levels than pre-pandemic. And what's happened is that production has gone down. Refinery capacity has declined in the United States and oil production has declined.
In some money news, markets will be closed today in observance of Juneteenth, and trading will once again resume on Tuesday, where investors hope to see a bounce back in the market. Last week, the S&P 500 fell by 4.25%, with the year-to-date falling all the way below 23%. The Nasdaq actually saw a minor jump last week, rising by 1.42%, but year-to-date is down even more by over 26%. Over the weekend, Bitcoin crashed all the way below the $18,000 mark, hitting a new low for the year before rebounding and is now sitting once again above the $20,000 mark. While it's certainly possible Saturday's dip could mark the lowest Bitcoin will get, and it's all up from here, there's also always the possibility of the recent rally being a fake out and us seeing another huge drop in the market. Of course, one of the most bullish people when it comes to Bitcoin, El Salvador's president, says that Bitcoin investors are safe with their investment and that it will grow immensely, at least after this bear market. So, as always, what I'm going to personally continue doing in this shaky market is just to continue dollar cost averaging down. I'm going to be buying in just a little bit at a time to take advantage of these lower prices because these prices haven't been this low in quite a long time. So I'm going to continue taking advantage of that. This is not financial advice, it's just what I'm personally doing. Now, the Fed is going to continue raising rates throughout the rest of the year and perhaps even next year. Who knows how high they're going to have to raise these rates to get inflation under control. So as we all know, when the Fed raises rates, that's also going to impact the market. And right now, Americans have less discretionary income to put in the stock market. So people may continue selling out of stocks as the market continues to dip and people are panic selling. But me personally, I'm going to continue holding. I'm going to continue dollar cost averaging down. And in the long run, if you look at any good index fund, if you look at the S&P 500, over the long run, it has gone up. So even though prices continue to dip in the market, we are going to see a rebound. And I can almost guarantee that 10 years from now, prices will be much higher than what they are right now. Prices will be much higher than the recent highs that we saw earlier this year. But if you haven't started investing and you would like to get started, or maybe you are started and you just want a few free stocks, Webull is still teaming up with me to give out 6 free stocks to my viewers. I will leave a link in the first pinned comment section below, and also in the description box I will leave a link as well. If you click on that link and you open an account with Webull and you deposit just 1 penny or more, Webull will send you 6 free stocks. Those stocks have a potential of being valued over $13,000. Most will be less than that, but you have the possibility of receiving stocks as high as that amount. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you enjoyed the content in today's video and you would like to see more like it, I would encourage you to give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and also ring the notification bell. That way you will be the very first to be notified when I do release future videos. But until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day ahead, and I'll see you in the next video.